Gambia records 5th COVID-19 death with 7 doctors testing positive. President Adama Barrow presided over the national funeral for all-time best Gambian footballer. Police and the military have been deployed in northern Uganda for the restoration of peace and order. These and more stories coming on the World Today. Do stay tuned. This is iAfrica TV. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Julden Jai Sware, and now to the news in detail. The legendary late Momodu Biribirin Jai legacy has finally been recognized as the country holds a national funeral conveyance on Wednesday for him. President Adama Barrow, who presided over the occasion at the 22nd July in Banjul, paid a special homage on the fallen hero. He recalled some of the topical moments during the life of Mr. Beriberi.
Alaji Biri's character as a patriot Gambians was demonstrated many times during his sporting career, footballing in particular. He sacrificed for his country and made every effort to fly the Gambian flag high in the footballing world. As we mourn, all Gambians should be proud of Alaji Njai Biri and be thankful that he gave to his motherland as he could when he had to. Together, let us pray that the many Gambian football enthusiasts and sponsors who departed this world before him, such as the late Alaji Obi Konate, of blessed memory, are waiting in heaven to receive him.
As the clock ticks towards the Muslim feast of Tobaski, market vendors, mainly tailors in the Old Yundu market, have called on the government to consider further easing of the emergency restrictions. Their plea came in consideration of the occasional night shifting for tailors in the production of a popular African attire for men and women during the religious event. The enforcement of the COVID-19 emergency measures, according to the vendors, is putting business at a standstill. More of that in this report.
Despite the easing of COVID-19 restrictions, vendors at the Coastal Road Market have called on the government to further extend the closing time as business booms better in the evening. The Gambia government last month announced the easing of market restrictions imposed in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. This move was welcomed by vendors who said it is long overdue, but 1 month down the line, vendors at Coastal Road expressed frustration over the closure of business barely 2 weeks before Tobaski. Suleiman Bay, who operates a tailoring workshop, said the nature of his work is such that the day is allocated for marketing while the actual sewing is done at night. But this goes in contrast with current emergency regulations.
Suñ jafe-jafe mooy ñun suñ commencé liggéey bu 6 jotee ñaareel police yi dinañ ñëw nañu paak leen time jot na understand nga ne nañ tëj te xam nga ñun suñu xëyee daanaka duñu mën a liggéey dañuy jokkoo client yi di waxtaan ak ñoom price ñi indi ñëw ñi waxtaan ak ñoom comprendre nga suñu waxtaanee ak ñoom daanaka ngoon gi bé ngoon daal duñ mën a liggéey daanaka guddi gi rek la ñuy am time pour liggéey soo gars yi bu ñu xañee guddi gi kon dafay am problème te tey police bu ñëwee na la tëjal nga tëj borom ñëw jox la ñëwoo ko julli gi jot mu jàppale yóbbu police boo demee police téye la xam nga kon loolu jafe-jafe la si téyel quoi loolu daal bokk na si li nga xamante ni daf ñu métti trop métti nañu loolu moom métti nañu.
He pleaded with the government to allow them to work at night, without which they would experience problems with customers. Mor Cisse, also a tailor, said the timing is bad for them, emphasizing the importance of working at night. Nyima Seka, a vendor at the market, considered the later hours as the best time to make sales. However, beginning at 6 o'clock in the evening, the police would be active in the enforced market closure.
Ci marché bi mom dafa doy wa trop. Ci légui mom nguur bi ñu allow ñu ibi 6 o'clock di tej 6. The time is 6 bi bobu la customer yi day ñew. te time boobu noonu si nga mun a jaay te time boobu soo tëjutee gaa dañ la dee tëj ñu yóbbu la si station bi waaw distoon nañu trop marché bi nag corona bi moom laal nañu lool waaw si last year ak this year market bi nu moo doxee lifuñu dara business bi yëpp dafa sulu.
Omar Fall, a concerned businessman, observed some difficulties brought about by the coronavirus for small and medium enterprises, calling for the extension of operational time for vendors in the old Yundum market. This scenario of market operation is factored in the 2020 economic outlook by the African Development Bank, which predicts a negative 2% decline in the economy of states in West Africa, blamed on the coronavirus global pandemic. The report indicated that the growth could fall as much as negative 4.3% in the worst case scenario. For iAfrica News, I am Khadija Tuseka.
The Gambian Health Ministry has announced the confirmation of 20 new COVID-19 cases, 8 of whom are health workers, mainly from the country's main referral hospital in Banjul. The latest news on Tuesday presented the 5th death as a result of COVID-19, as well as the positive test result of a WHO staff currently in the Gambia.
A staff of the World Health Organization is among the 8 new cases confirmed on health workers in the Gambia in the latest batch of 20 cases of coronavirus. The Tuesday report by the Ministry of Health announced the 5th coronavirus-related death in the country since March 2020. The deceased was a security guard at a private medical clinic within the Greater Banjul area, according to sources. Together with the Congolese UN consultant in the Gambia, 5 Cuban doctors and 2 Gambian doctors are among the health workers who tested positive of the coronavirus. In less than 2 weeks, 22 health workers have been enrolled for treatment in a 60% increase in the number of COVID-19 cases for the past 20 days. The registration of 20 new cases, being the highest report in a single day, brings to 132 the total of COVID-19 cases ever confirmed in the country. Meanwhile, 639 people are under quarantine, 64 are under treatment, while 5 cases are on a probable stage.
We will now take a short break and come back for the remaining of our stories. Don't go away. Welcome back, and now to the rest of our remaining stories. The impact of the coronavirus has hit hard on Nigeria's hospitality industry. The industry, which employs millions of people, was forced to shut down when the country registered 131 confirmed cases and 2 deaths in just March. More of that in this report.
Nothing better tells the story of the state of the hospitality industry in Nigeria at the moment than Cubana Group, a big player in the West African nation's hospitality industry that has hotels, nightclubs, restaurants, outdoors and lounges. All 11 of Cubana outlets in the country, like this one, have remained shut for the past 4 months with no end in sight. At this time of the day, this place would normally be filled with guests, eating, drinking and of course having fun. But since the second week of March, when the government shut down the hospitality industry, this place has been closed. Nobody has come here to do anything at all. It's just how bad business has been for the owner.
Wow, the damage is much. It will take a long time. years, if you ask me. But take it from me, a lot of businesses like this, my industry, a lot of people will not come out of it, a whole lot of people. So it has adversely affected us seriously in any way you can think of.
With all its outlets shut, almost all of Yegbu staff have been home, over 1,000 of them. And with the COVID-19 pandemic in the country rising on a daily basis, there's no certainty when the hospitality industry will be reopened.
The economy is practically on its knees. It's practically on its knees. People, even when life was normal, things were hard. So imagine like 4 months without job, 4 months without anything. So in my opinion, I feel that we should look into how to run these businesses while being careful, because human life matters so much. Yeah, I agree to that. So as much as they mean well by shutting us down, I believe they should also find ways for us to open businesses.
Nigeria's hospitality and tourism industry together employ millions of people. The country's Hospitality and Tourism Association puts the estimate at about 2.5 million. Almost all of them are now redundant.
By the time businesses even come back, some of these people will not come back to work because they've already lost, because there's no any income. You can't even pay them salary. So how are you going to sustain them? So more than half of that number are going to completely lose their job. And this thing we're still counting because we don't even know when this COVID-19 is going to end.
We have not laid off any human being. We won't do that. That would be inhuman for us to do. You understand? But it has been huge on us. Actually, we are hoping and praying that government will come to our aid, the hospitality industry especially, because we need the support of the government for us to be able to resume operations, for us to be able to sustain our businesses so that most of us don't shut down.
It's now a waiting game for Cubana and other operators in Nigeria's hospitality industry, waiting for the government's green light to resume operations. One thing though is certain, even when they eventually come back, things would not be the same again for their business.
In a bid to restore peace in northern Uganda, police together with the army have been deployed to play their roles in the subject. The UN Refugee Agency is alongside busy providing safe haven for the unfortunate destitute in the area. Detail of that in this report.
Tensions remain high at Palorinya refugee settlement in northern Uganda. The Uganda police and the army have been deployed to restore calm. The recent violence among refugees erupted over theft of crops. The UN Refugee Agency is now offering a safe haven for refugees affected by intercommunal violence and is trying to promote reconciliation through refugee community leaders. They blame the spike in violence on the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected the livelihoods of many refugee families.
People have lost whatever little opportunities, livelihood opportunities they had. They have lost or already utilized whatever saving they might had. Now they don't have any jobs to support their families, their gardens, and this hunger or, access to food, feeding their families. This is another contributing factor that has, led to the theft of the food, which actually triggered these clashes.
Uganda is home to over 1.4 million refugees. South Sudanese refugees account for 65% of that figure. The UN Refugee Agency is now appealing for more resources so that they can support the refugees.
UNHCR needs $28 million immediately to continue the current level of its operation. And if we don't receive that anytime soon, we might be forced to scale down the current level of operation.
And with this kind of support, they hope to ease tensions in refugee communities.
Gambia's Ministry of Health has finally received medical supply to support the fight against COVID-19 thanks to the partnership with the World Bank. The new consignment marked a tap on the back of health workers at a time when the number of cases has exceeded 100.
The arrival of medical supplies, including 10 ambulances procured from the Republic of Turkey with the support of the World Bank, is expected to strengthen the COVID-19 response muscles of the Gambia's Ministry of Health. The World Bank committed a grant of $10 million for the procurement of medical supplies to enhance COVID-19 case detection, tracing, and reporting. Minister of Health Dr. Amadou Lamin Samate, who received the items at the Banjul International Airport, graded the materials highly, noting of their readiness to the provision of quality healthcare service delivery in the country.
We stand here to receive 10 state-of-the-art ambulances for the people of this country. Now, we had never seen this before. I had never seen ambulances like this in this country before in my life. Today, we receive these kinds of ambulances that are state-of-the-art, that are ready for use for the provision of quality healthcare delivery services in the Gambia.
Minister Samate reassured Gambian people that the COVID-19 funds provided by the Gambian government and its partners will all be accountable judiciously.
Now, we want to tell the people of this country that this is a manifestation that the COVID-19 funds, the COVID-19 support from the partners will be put to very, very, very good use. We have already seen that, and the arrival of these 10 brand new state-of-the-art ambulances is a manifestation of that, and that we will guard relentlessly to make sure that every butut of the funds of government geared towards COVID-19 and all the funds from the donor partners are put to very, very, very good use.
He also took the opportunity to salute frontline workers for their sacrifice during this unprecedented time brought about by COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID-19 came, it is unprecedented times. We have our frontline health workers who are there in the thick of things. We want to show appreciation. We want to send our respect to all of them. As you have already known, some healthcare workers have tested positive as we speak. Our prayers go to them and their families. We support them, and we tell them that the Ministry of Health, the government of the Gambia, and all our partners are with them in prayers and support, and we continue to support them. We want to tell them that the people of this country appreciate their hard work, their dedication, their commitment to duty, even when their health and their lives are at risk.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Momodou Tangara commended the World Bank for supporting the Gambian government in its quest to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. He encouraged the public to respect the emergency regulations as it is geared towards protecting people from the disease.
I have a sense of relief today that ambulances are here, and this is also an opportunity once again to urge and encourage people to respect some of the measures taken by government. It's not with pleasure that some of the measures are taken. As I always say, we are trying to protect people against themselves. We are trying to protect ourselves and our families because the pandemic is real. COVID-19 is real. The fact that people are still in denial is very worrisome.
Recently, the number of COVID-19 cases has been at an increasing rate of 60%, with the number hitting 132 as of this week. For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
That report by Sohna Tunkara brings us to the end of the news. But for more of these and other stories, log on to iAfrica.tv. Once again, I am Julden Sware. Thanks for the pleasure of your company and do have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
dama kontaan bu baax sax si ñëw bi nga ñëw seet si suma tabax gi kontaan naa ci trop trop.
maa gën a kontaan bi ma ñëwee fekk sa tabax du toll fii waaye nag man kontaanuma ci sama kër gi man.
lu xew.
ndax umpale wu loon ne ñoo bokkoon nekk Europe.
dëgg la
jamono yu nekkee foofu yëpp man ak yow maa ngi am benn waay maa ngi ko yónnee xaalis bu bari pour mu sampal ma suma kër te ba léegi tabax bi àggul fenn te yow nga waxoon ma ne ma bi nga starté samp yàggul léegi nga toll fii foo jaar
li waral loolu nag mooy dama ànd ak waa Baluwo
kon su ma la déggee Baluwo dañuy yëngu ci samp kër tamit
ni ngay def nag yomb na da ngay log on to www.baluwo.com mun ngaa jënd ci ñoom ciment suuf banta weñ ba ci daaj yi nga xam ne di nga ko soxla lépp lu jëm ci wàllu samp rek mun nga koo am ci lu yomb ak Baluwo daal yaay dugal sa xaalis fi nga ko bëgg a amee ko ci ni nga ko bëggee